I was wrong in doing what I did.
No! Are you listening?
Sean here, attempt number 422 to make this video. I'm headed out to the Kentucky Highland Renaissance Fair. Love that place. But here we go. Let's talk about a few things. First, I realized when I get stalled on my Lorne videos, it's because I haven't talked about something I'm very passionate about. And with him, man, he is dangerous, and we know this. And one of the things is feigned concern. Feigned concern, because he does it all of the time. Let's talk about one instance. Let's talk about a situation you would find yourself in with this douchebag. Even if you were a child. And I don't mean one he targets. We saw it a bit with Kayla. We saw what happens. If you are not where you're supposed to be, according to Lorne, at the appointed time, in the appointed place, there's a problem. You better be, when you say you're going to call Lorne at 8 o'clock, it better be 8 o'clock. How many times have we seen it? How many times have we experienced this guy when somebody's late? 7:45, you didn't call me at 7:30 like you were supposed to. How come? Is everything okay? He knows everything's okay. Well, I don't know. Of course, we know he doesn't understand that relatives, friends, and family, you're talking to them. It's hard to get off the phone because his mother's like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, Lorne. Oh, okay. Why are you trying to get off the phone? Oh, okay, Lorne. Goodbye. Click, boom. 3-minute phone call. Roy. I'm sorry, Roy. What are you saying? Click, boom. Done. His other siblings won't even answer the phone. He knows there's nothing wrong. Look at Nikki, called 800 times, then called the cops. I was really concerned about her. No, he wasn't. He was trying to cover the fact that he was basically harassing and stalking this woman. So he called the cops in the hopes that he could say, it wasn't because of that, I really was concerned about you. No, it's because you thought there was something between you. You thought she owed you something. But you were wrong, as you were always wrong, and you thought by telling her you called the cops, that would cover you. You thought also, Lorne, that the cops would tell you where she is. Oh, no, she's fine. She's up in Waterville. She's with her friend at so-and-so. He thought he was going to get a little bit of inside information, but what he got was a restraining order. And I wonder, too, with Sherry, who I'll always be grateful that the information I got was real, I always wondered if when he saw her, because Lorne didn't graduate till he was, 25? I'm kidding. You know when he graduated. If he saw her and was like, well, I haven't heard from you since high school. I was concerned about you, you know? Oh, hi. Your name is Larry? Close enough, he probably thought. Close enough. We're in love. We're getting married. I'm going to get you a ring. Stay here in line at this Burger King. His kids. Just imagine his kids if he texts them 8 billion times. And he asks them, where are you guys? What time are you coming home? Dad, I told you I had band practice. Well, you should have reminded me again. As he texted them, up yours, you piece of garbage. Why don't you call me? Of course you didn't call me. You're probably calling your mom right now. We know this would happen with him. We absolutely know it would happen. Because he's hot garbage. Robert Tilton one time on TV, I was flipping to the channels and he said, this is hot soil. Lorne is hot garbage. He is hot garbage. And any concern that he shows to anyone is simply to serve his purposes. And it's never the proper concern. I think you've noticed that. It's never what he should be concerned about. He's concerned that he got mad because she did something. Because in his mind, the fact that he got mad is the biggest deal. And that is probably what's affecting her the most. Not that he called her a slut and that she was out banging every penis within a mile radius. No. He's sure that the main concern is that he was inconvenienced. The whole Winnie assault thing, he never showed concern. Not real concern, even when Emma told him, dude, you blamed her? Well, yeah, because she put herself in that situation. Jeez! If you're new to the channel, you may not have gotten to the video yet where I talk about the type of guys who see assault as a violation of their wife, who see it as somebody else being inside, and then it's been violated, and it's kind of, in a way, her fault, and now sex will never be the same because he's supposed to be the only being. That's Lorne. That is Lorne. And if his wife got assaulted, he would assume, okay, we got past it, now let's get back to regular program. He would be mad at her. What were you doing down there in the first place at 7:10 at night? What do you mean? And then he would say, well, you know it's dangerous down there at that time of night. Dramatic pause there, because this guy is the worst. And we know his behavior is unforgivable. Completely, it's just unforgivable. There's nothing he's done that you can forgive. Even though some people believe that in order to be forgiven, you have to forgive. You'll never receive forgiveness unless you do the act of forgiveness yourself. But if I'm a victim of something like that, maybe a beating or a robbery, Thomas Lennon is one of my favorite actors ever. Lieutenant Dangle in Reno 911. He's also in Christopher Nolan's Batman movies as a doctor. He's in another movie as something else, but he's great. He's wonderful. He's a lovely human being. I follow him on Instagram. He interacts with me and other people. I mean, he's just a sweet guy. Real sweet guy, down to earth, loves his family. But backing up, he got beaten almost to death in New York. Almost to death. And he went back to the exact same spot later with someone who cared about him to help him work through it. And Thomas Lennon forgave the people who gave him the beating. That takes a real human being. That's the only way you can get past things. Lorne would never forgive his significant other for being a victim. If he tried to force himself on her and she fought him off, he wouldn't care that she was screaming and saying, "Get off me." He'd be like, "I thought you wanted this. What's wrong?" He would pull the fake concern because he's good at it. If his mom was in the hospital, he would not be the guy who went and visited. As I've said before, he would be calling everyone else and showing how concerned he was. Kind of like a helicopter mom who, even though the child should be more nervous than anything else, the mom is running around preening and primping and freaking out. Telling everybody, I'm just so nervous. Because this guy doesn't know what real concern is. He has no empathy. It's very difficult. I have to be in the right frame of mind to hear messed up stories. Because I do feel the unquenchable desire for justice and for things to be right. And when Lorne is swinging the hammer and he blames the nail for bending, you know what I mean. There is a problem, and I'm not using the bent small nail as a metaphor for his Mr. Penis. You know what I mean. It's this guy, this absolute pot of human garbage, who will never understand what an apology is, what to apologize for. He won't get it. And it makes me angry to think that there have been so many people in his life that he has done wrong, that he has treated so poorly and has never given a proper apology to. Closure is so important to people. So important. Now, if you're getting a divorce like I did, the closure is moving on, I think. There was never any real closure there, which I'm okay with. I mean, closure in most of my past relationships, when we were dating or whatever, was breaking up and then one more night of hot, passionate, sweaty skin slapping. I know it's gross sounding, but hey. And then you just kind of move on. In some of those relationships, it's been a couple months later that we go back. Because you want that one more time But there are some relationships, like I said, like my marriage, I didn't want that one more time. I know she didn't either. I just didn't want it. So there will never truly be closure. I think closure will come because I know as soon as my son graduates, they'll probably move out of the state. I'll move out of the state. And it's a very weird feeling, especially when you were with someone for so long, to just split, just part ways. And Lorne, I don't think he could do that. There would never be closure for Lorne. If you tried to have, if you tried to have sex with Lorne one more time, it would only make things worse. You must really like me to want to have, breakup sex. There's no breakup with Lorne. There's none. He wouldn't understand that a breakup is devastating to both parties some of the time. So when they broke up, of course he's angry that the woman who broke up with him decided to move on. We broke up, and what did you do? You went out with another guy. You just feel like telling him, hey man, breaking up, it's a real thing. And when you break up with somebody, it's over. You're done. You're not together anymore. You didn't have a legal right to someone in the first place. You didn't have a legal right to do anything with this person. And when you break up, it's over, man. You can't complain that the person that you broke up with actually moved on just because you had not. And that's always going to be a problem for him. Always. So in the future, if Lorne finally does get a relationship or finally does find someone who they can be together with, I do not think under any circumstance he is ever going to be able to let that go. And if he calls and she's crying, he won't get that she's not calling him to get back together. She may be calling him because he's the only person left in her life, and she just wants someone to say everything's going to be okay. At some point in his life, I don't think people said I'm sorry to Lorne very much. I don't. I don't think they were the ones who violated him or did anything to him. He probably feels like Betty owes him an apology. Remember, he owed her 30 grand or something stupid like that, and he said, well, as far as I'm concerned, that debt's paid with all the entertainment she's got of me online. Imagine the ego you have to have. And no morals, no ethics, nothing. No integrity at all. You almost feel sorry for someone who's never been apologized to. Someone who's never experienced or never had the opportunity to forgive someone and to feel how great it is to move on. Because it does feel great. He probably sees it as a power thing. That's a common mistake some people have. They don't apologize because they feel it would be admitting that they are wrong. It would be a chink in their shiny armor and something the other person could hold over their head forever. And why would Lorne think that? Why would Lorne think that? Gee, let's go back and think of, well, pretty much every day of every year that he holds something over someone else's head. I suck at giving examples. Lorne, you can remember what day, it was back in September, I think it was like the 23rd or something, when you and Will did that thing. Lorne, it is now May of the next year, and you're still bringing, because it pissed me off. He holds things over people's heads. Maybe he's afraid that they're going to hold it over his head. I don't know. He's done things in his life that we have held over his head forever because he never, ever admit that what he did was wrong. That sting in Betty it's the sword of Damocles dangling over his head, ready to fall at any moment. A guillotine hanging on by a thread. No one likes that feeling. Most of us would do anything to get away from the sword or to remove the sword from the situation. Lorne, his philosophy is ignore the sword. In these relationships, the only chance he ever has to speak to a woman, he has no desire to apologize, no desire to act like a regular human being, show no concern whatsoever for their feelings, because the end goal is getting laid. And he just wants to go straight to the end. No hardship. This is why he's a failure in life. He doesn't want to go through any hardship. He doesn't want to deal with anything that might inconvenience him in any way. It's so hard, as Roger from American Dad would say. Relationships can be hard, which is hilarious if you think about it. Marriage is difficult. Marriage is a challenge. Marriage is hard. And yet we do it anyway. For some reason we do it. Tradition, because we just want to make sure we have that person in our life. But some people get married and they're like, well, just in case, I don't want to let this one get away. And you listen to don't let that one get away. I don't know. I still think if Lorne was on his wedding day and Winnie was caught in another room banging Dan, Lorne, as he says, would still get married. And in his wedding vows, he would say, I love you, Winnie, even though, really loud, you were over there banging Dan. I told you, if you bang Dan again, we're done. How sad is that? How sad is it that Lorne is willing to stay with someone who's done sexual things with other people and complain about, don't you ever do it again? And they do it again. They don't apologize. I don't think Jamie ever apologized for anything. And Lorne, he wants what he wants, and he doesn't want anyone to have anything on him, even though the whole world has something on him. He's just a terrible human being overall, who will never know the power of forgiveness. He'll never know what it feels like to truly repent, to say I'm sorry to somebody, how to heal a fractured relationship, how to stop poking holes in the dike, no pun intended, how to stop poking holes as the water is just pouring through. He doesn't ever try to patch it up because, technically the dike is still standing, no pun intended. It's still there. There are lots of holes in it, but it's holding, it's up there. If I'm in a relationship, I want it to be strong. I want the foundation to be strong. I want the wall to be strong. I don't want anything to be able to knock it down. Maybe that's it. Maybe Lorne thinks he's strong enough. I'm strong enough for both of us. I can hold us up. I'm Lorne freaking Armstrong. I just dislike the guy, and I don't want anyone to ever have anything to do with him because he is dangerous. And the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing is wrong. And the fact that even if he does know what he's doing is wrong, it's a different take on it. It's a different reason that it's wrong. And he won't apologize for the right reasons. I'm sorry that I'm angry because you did something I don't agree with. Jeez, man, what a pathetic douchebag. So any real woman, if you're ever listening to these videos, do us a favor. Stay away, because we do not want to be talking about real victims of abuse, because it will happen. All right, rant over. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.